Welcome back to the Skits and Giggles podcast. I'm Pascal, and I'm joined by my co-host Bryson. How's it going tonight, buddy?
It's going very well, Pascal. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. We are also joined by our good buddy Micha Rudolph. How is it going tonight, man?
Very good, very good.
I'm really looking forward to catching up with you. I mean, there was this a recent photo that made the rounds on the socials of your clunker project, and that caught my eye, and I was like, dang, we need to have him on and talk about this project because this looks really, really cool. We're kind of both very much into the utilities, like utility vehicles, micromobility, those kind of things. So this looked really, really cool. We're going to obviously put it up on our socials too, so people can have a look. But why don't you give us the highlight reel of your clunker project? What is it? What can people expect?
So actually, it's a Leaf Cycles clunker, and Leaf Cycles last year called out a contest to buy a clunker bike for a cheap price, and the only thing we had to do is to modify as we wanted to do. We had the option to saw it in half, put in a two-stroke engine, do whatever we wanted to do, and I saw the chance to make a bike that could bring my tools into the forest or to the jumps to do some maintenance and build trials. So that's actually what I did. Quite simple.
Very nice. Bryson, maybe you could clarify for the not bike dork, what is a clunker and what is the historical meaning of a clunker?
Yeah, sure. It goes way back. Let's say name comes to mind, Charlie Kelly. What is it? Santa Cruz, California.
Marin
back
County.
in the day. Yeah, that's right. Marin County. They're like walking their bikes up a fire road, bombing down, coaster brakes on fire. They're calling the race the repack because they got to repack the coaster brake, the rear coaster brake with grease every time because it just burns up on the way down. But you got some epic shots of them like power sliding around corners, foot out. Started to put moto bars, like actual motorcycle bars, onto their like air quotes mountain bikes. But basically, it's a rigid bike. Coaster brake was the original design, but
balloon tires.
Balloon tires, yeah, that's right. They were adapting motorcycle brake levers and handlebars, and basically at that time, mountain bikes were actually like kind of road bikes adapted, or like kind of a road bike that has been already a little bit it's not really a racing road bike, but I don't know. It's come a little bit ways from that. And they were, I guess like on the lower end of reliable. So there's always this pucker factor of like, either I send it and it will break, or I send it and it won't break, but I'm going to have to like maybe bend something and back and But the idea is that it's like a simple bike. It's going to get you around, and it's going to be a ton of fun because it's really rigid and just direct, and it's pure. So they're a blast. I converted my hardtail into one for a while, and it really gives you like direct feeling of what's going on. Leaves you numb sometimes as well.
Exactly. But yeah, by many considered the inspiration for the mountain bikes that we do ride today. But what was your fascination with the clunker, Micha?
So first of all, I'm absolutely in love with steel hardtails. I love the thin tubes, the simplicity of those bikes, and the clunker is something that's, like Bryson said, the first people riding those bikes, the heritage of mountain bikes, and that kind of fascinates me. And I always thought it would be super cool to have one, but due to, as you said, those bikes are super simple, having a coaster brake, one-piece cranks, no proper brakes. I always thought like, is it a bike you really want to spend money on because it's not very versatile? You can ride around like a normal city bike. You can't really do trails like a normal mountain bike. So I never pulled the trigger to buy one of those bikes. And actually, that contest that was called out by Leaf Cycles actually made me pull the trigger.
Okay. But the leaf cycles, I mean, I've always had them. When I hear leaf cycles, I have in mind, dirt jump bikes and
Yeah,
that kind of
absolutely.
niche that they've been playing in. So they also make clunker bikes. So how did you know them?
Yeah, back from my early 20s, I knew Leaf Cycles as a brand that make pretty cool dirt jump bikes, and a few years back they launched the Clunker, and I really thought, that would be a cool chance, but as I said, not versatile enough to to have it as an everyday bike. So I kept it just as an idea. And but it also was floating around my head, and I have some work colleagues that have all 26-inch mountain bikes that changed it to clunker bikes. I met some good friends back in Switzerland. They also bought some old Scott frames or something and made clunker out of it with motorcycle bars. And honestly, sitting on an old bike with like a wide motorcycle bar, it feels so comfortable. It feels so right. It feels so good. So the idea of having a clunker by myself just was like growing and growing more. So yeah, at one point I had to do something, and yeah, the contest was the perfect moment to say yes.
Nice. Okay. So you talked about the contest. So what is what was the basic premise of the contest? So you said, you can have the frame or the bike a bit cheaper, but you have to change it. Or what was the contest?
So I don't know when, it must be late summer last year where the contest was like called out, and we had time until beginning of June to modify a bike, and there was not a real like a minimum you had to do, but Frank, which is the owner of Leaf Cycles, just said, "Hey, you get a bike for cheap. Just do anything weird, anything cool, anything you want to." And if you see all the bikes who went into the contest, there's some pretty cool ideas, even with the side wagon. Some put like a Gates carbon drive on it. Even a guy modified it to an e-bike. So a lot of people had quite a cool ideas. And me as a trail builder, and I thought it would be so cool to have something to bring my tools to the forest, because now I use my e-bike, put my shovel on my shoulder. Mostly I keep the shovel in the forest because it's so hard to put it in and out of the forest. And now having a bike that can transport it without any problems, that's kind of a cool thing.
So basically, you took the frame that you got from Leaf Cycles, and did you change anything on the frame, or did you then just go straight to the accessories?
Quite a lot. So the full bike that I purchased had a coaster brake, one-piece crank, and I'm kind of a heavy guy, and I know a one-piece crank wouldn't work quite a lot because I probably would bend it after like 5 minutes. And also coaster brake. I mean, it's heritage, but it feels kind of awkward because you're not used to it. I asked a good friend of mine, and he still had like a SRAM iMotion 9 hub at home, so a brand new one with a grip shift. So I thought, hey, send it to me. I will try to fit it through the frame. I tried to put it into the frame and just found out that the frame just had 110 millimeter wide dropouts. So I had to bend the rear frame to fit the 135 mil hub. I had a hub with a disc brake mount, so I had to build myself a disc brake mount. I think I sold it last time about 20 years ago in my apprenticeship.
Oh
So I had
wow!
to build a bottle of gas and oxygen and try myself out to to do that. First rides were kind of scary because I didn't know if it would hold up. But until now, I did more than 100K, and the brake is working pretty good, actually. I
Oh man, that's
also
funny.
drilled a lot of like holes into the frame and the fork, and put some rivets with threads inside, so I can mount my accessory. Um, uh, there was actually nothing to put on like a brake cable and brake hoses. So I organized some adapters, which I had to solder to the frame, and it was finally a chance for me to, if you buy a bike, new bikes are cool, kind of cool, but there's always this place where the brake hose or the shifting cable is in an awkward position and it's rubbing and it's not cool. And I said, well, that's my chance to make it really, like, I want to have it, make it good. So that's actually what I did. What else? Yeah, well, the grip shift, also a thing. I wanted the clean look of a clunker bike. So I don't want to have the awkward grip shift on my bars. So I decided to put the grip shift around the seat post. So the bike, it looks like a single speed, feels like a single speed, but you still have the chance to climb up a mountain or go fast on the flat or downhill, which is kind of cool. Made some prototypes hangers for the tools, first out of plywood. Then I drawed it and made a 3D print. And then I bended, a friend of mine, his father worked at a company who can cut out steel with a laser. So I had that cutout of stainless steel. I've bended it. And there's so many stuff I did. I put some proper cranks on it. I changed the tire size from 27.5 to 29. It's quite tight, but it works.
Yeah, it looks like
due
it.
Due to my work at Schwalbe, and my colleague Carl, which is product manager for mountain bike tires, we made some sample tires in olive green.
Nice.
I thought olive green would be a cool color for the whole bike because trail building is not very legal around here and also not in Switzerland. So I thought, well, if you have a bike you put it in the forest and nobody sees it, that would be kind of a good idea. So that's the reason. Well, the whole bike is olive green, also with the knobby nicks in or olive green sidewall. Fits so good together. It looks awesome. I took a piece of a copper tube for like the heating system you have at home, and I just made a head badge out of it, which looks like a shovel, and I soldered it to the frame. And after putting the olive green powder coating, I just scratched away the powder coating so that you just can see the copper logo. I mean, there's so many details which I never thought I would do something so detailed in my life, because normally I spray painted some frames, but everything looks kind of awkward, if you do it by yourself. And that bike really looks like it was built from the scratch from a company. So I'm super proud of it.
Oh yeah, no, you should be. I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wait a second, Pascal, what was that sound?
I started using that sound whenever we wanted to say something about our social, or where you guys can find more information about the Skids and Giggles podcast. We are currently most active on our Instagram, where you can skid right into our DMs and follow along at Skids and Giggles, and you can find our website with all the relevant links and info under the URL skidsandgiggles.com. Also, if you guys like what we're doing and want to know what's up, just give us a follow on Spotify, hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to great podcasts. Finally, sharing episodes you enjoy on your socials or a heartfelt 5-star rating on your favorite platform goes a long way in helping us reach more cool people like you. Right on, with all of that out of the way, let's get back to the show.
So actually, the whole thing started also with a good friend of mine. He's a pretty good Felix. He's a very creative guy, and he's very good at drawing. So I asked him, like, can you do a drawing of that bike with all the shovels on it? And I asked him I told him exactly how I wanted to have, and he made it perfect. And putting that image on my wallpaper at my computer at work just kept me going on the project. So even if I was like kind of tired of the project, I looked at my screen and like, yeah, I want to have that bike. So I went back to the basement, started working on the bike. And yeah, it actually got ready just before end of the contest.
Do you like how it rides?
It's kind of stiff, very stiff. You need to get used to leaf. So I actually put a proper motor bar with a welded
Crossbar
brace at the top. Yeah, crossbar. It's a super stiff setup, so you need to get used to it if you used to ride full suspension bike. But it's super fun to ride because it really feels like back in the time where having the best suspension, having the best brakes is not the thing that make your ride fun. And if you see the videos of the people racing down the fire roads with those old bikes that are falling apart, But you look at the faces and you understand one thing: even though bikes got cooler and better nowadays, it's not more fun to ride. It's actually, those people back in the days had the same amount of fun as we do right now, because it's just good times with your buddies. And this is what the bike makes me feel, actually. So
That's
the
awesome.
seat post is always up. So there's, due to the setup with the grip shift around the seat post, there's no chance to lower the seat post. So you always have to ride with a high seat post, which needs you to adapt a bit more to the trail. But
Well, like
but
we
man,
used to
that's,
back in the day, right?
yeah. It's a simple bike, but it's a super fun bike to ride, actually. The only thing that's kind of bit awkward is like the 29-inch setup. You feel that geometry is not made for it. So if you go into very tight corners, it's very easy to like oversteer the bike, and the fork just turns around 180 degrees and you flip over. So you need to be a bit careful about that. But besides that, it's actually a pretty good ride. Even if you take off the tools, take off the brackets, and just go to, as you say in Germany, Eisdiele, a place where you can have an ice cream or something.
And what now that you've ridden it a bunch, are you thinking of any upgrades or changes to the setup?
So a thing I thought about after I painted it was to change the chain to Gates carbon drive, but that would mean I have to cut the rear triangle in one point and weld in like an adapter to open the frame. Which, yeah, if the bike is very scratched at one point in future, I will do that. But for now, I don't want to destroy the bike as it is right now. So it's actually going to stay like it is right now. And I feel like it's perfect because it's simple, it's easy, it has a lot of gear ratio with the 9-speed hub. I can go everywhere I want to. Yeah, it's going to stay like that.
And how faithful is it as a trail builder's tool?
It is quite faithful. So the only thing you see, like if you've seen the pictures, the shovel is quite next to your knees. So I used some very wide pedals, so you can stand very outside on the pedal, so it is not rubbing your knee. You can ride trails with the tools, but it's way more difficult than without tools. So yeah, I did that actually for some pictures just to see if it really works. But I mean, if you build some trails and you test it, you can put the tools by side and just ride it. That's fine. It's actually working pretty well.
Let's talk some more about the tools. I mean, you always mentioned the shovel, but there's also some other stuff on it. So what's the full setup? I mean, I see an axe, which is obviously very important. But what else is on the bike?
So I have a shovel on one side. So this tool setup on both sides is equal. So I can take two different type of shovel if I want to. And on one side I have in Germany it's called Spitzhacke. I don't know the English word.
A pick.
A pick, yeah, it's a pick actually. A pick which is quite useful here because we have quite rocky terrain. I have the axe on my fork on one side, and I even have mounting points on the other side of the fork. So until now, I'm also using my very faithful Klappspaten. No jokes. The thing that Fiskars builds for like around 60, 70 bucks. I'm using mine for 3 years now. It is. I'm not able to break it. People laugh when they see it for the first time, but they stop laughing when they see me working for it. Actually, that thing is a tool I put in my backpack. I'm still planning to make a bracket for the bottle cage mount to put that tool in there. I really wanted to make a special bag for the upper frame triangle, make my own bag, but I didn't make it in time. So actually I have some stuff here that I could like sewing, but I didn't make it yet. So that's maybe for
the
next winter project. Yeah, so I mean, you can put in like a small handsaw. You can put it some Cliff Bars or something, because you get hungry when you build. Some repellent, mosquito repellent is very important at the moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see you have the most important hydration technology on the seat tube.
Yes.
Is that a 3D printed German Deutsche Industrienorm size beer bottle holder?
That's actually a beer bottle holder you can buy from Fitlock.
Ah.
Yeah, so I see a lot of kids using those to put on like these Bluetooth speakers and ride around bike parks, putting their sound.
Oh man!
And I just use it for a beer bottle.
As intended.
As intended, yeah.
As it should be.
For sure. But you also can put in like a just regular bottle of water if you old-fashioned.
How about a bucket mount?
A bucket. Oh, that's a good idea.
Because sometimes you got to haul dirt around, or you have like a ton of rocks you need to move. I guess you could just leave the bucket in the forest. Not a lot of people want to steal that.
Yeah, I normally use these black, very flexible buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I just bring it. No, it feels it's a bit like very soft plastic or a rubber or something. Because the thing is, like, if you use plastic in winter and it's very cold, it's very easy, so the stuff breaks.
Yeah, just shatter.
So these soft rubber baskets are quite good. But I never thought about like having. I don't even know how to put it because they're quite big in diameter.
Mm-hmm. You could have like a small like front fender type of platform in front of the head tube, and then just have it kind of bazookaed off the front.
Yeah, the cool thing the threads I put on the fork actually are the right size for any kind of like these mounts you see on backpacking bikes.
Oh.
So I can put on bags. I can mount a rack if I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually,
I was wondering why you don't have. I'm missing the rack, right? You could put, you could kind of some kind of box or a bucket or more tools or whatever.
More granola bars.
Back. And then you could put some panniers on the front, and so then it's becoming a bike packer, a trail builder bike.
So
trail packing.
I thought about to build a rack on the rear end to put my chainsaw.
I've seen this. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I thought about it, but due to building trails is not very legal. I think like you know how people are nowadays. If they see a chainsaw, the shitstorm's gonna start. So like, you shouldn't saw trees or something, because mostly you don't saw like a healthy tree. Mostly it's just a tree that fall on the trail or something. So I thought about the idea and I just rejected it because like, yeah, at one point somebody will know about it, and I thought, well, better be on the safe side.
So have you have anybody come up to you and question, what do you have all these tools in your bike for? Or are they still enamored by like, wow, it's so custom?
So actually, the bike is right now at my office. We have an open office at Schwalbe. It's just there for display. And sometimes people come around like, what's the bike for? And they see the X and they see the pig. And I think like, is this for a zombie apocalypse? For just like, and like, I didn't think about it, but now that you mention it, well, I could use that bike too.
You are ready.
You just got to mount a couple of,
missing.
Yeah, you need a flare gun. I think what else? A vaccine kit.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, if I have my bag, I actually can put a Medipack or something inside of the frame. Due to the contest just finished like the end of last month, and the bike is still at my office, I didn't use it yet a lot in the forest with the tools. So I didn't have anyone seeing the bike with tools running around. Just my neighbors here. But as soon, I think next week or next month, I'm going to pick up the bike and go into the forest. And at one point, people will see the bike and will start asking questions. But actually, due to the mounts looking so professional, I don't know what. I mean, if you go to the forest and people catch you up, you need to be confident. You know, it's just like somebody sees you building a trail, like, what you doing? And you're like, You need to be very confident, and you need to look like you belong to this place. You belong to. You're the guy who was ordered to build the trail, and then most people will complain about it, not complain about it. So, yeah.
That's a good tip.
But actually, yeah, which is quite cool in my region here, where I live. We do have a guy. He's in service for the forest here, and he's a very special kind of guy. He even has a trail named after his name because he called us and asked us to help us, like, also maintain hiking trails. So we also use our tools to maintain and build hiking trails. On the other side, we are allowed to build our own trails. So it's also kind of bit of official. Maybe I should use that.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet deal, though, right? So
Absolutely. I mean, our trails are not official, but as long as we have this state here as is right now, it's Wonderland. So we hope we can keep it as long as possible.
okay, yeah. So maybe then don't put a chainsaw on your trail builder bike.
Yes.
Unless you incognito use it as a e-bike motor, and then you like unmount it and it's a chainsaw.
That's an idea.
And they're like, oh, it's just an e-bike with a two-stroke a steel.
Instead of like a normal chain, I can use a chainsaw chain on my bike.
Yeah, just need to mount it
you
the
just
right way
need to
around.
see if you if you hit your shin, that could make ugly scratches on your shin.
Yeah, you just need to mount it inside out.
Yes, absolutely. It's safer. Actually, in my backpack, I have I don't know if you know this chainsaw for hands, so hand chainsaw. I have one of those, and actually that works pretty well. I mean, you wouldn't fall a tree that's 300 years old with one of those, but like everything up to 20, 30 centimeters works quite well.
You mentioned you work for Schwalbe already, so now you have the green sidewalled knobby nicks. Are you going to work on some trail building specific tires soon, or what's going on?
It would be wonderful to have a trail building specific tire. I mean, now being in the bike industry, working at Schwalbe, and having some insights of the new tires that are coming the next year, which is super exciting, which I can't talk too much about, but there's definitely something coming that could be interesting for people that are trail builders for their bikes. Definitely something coming. You just need to be patient.
Bob the Builder. I'm sure it's going to be some kind of alliteration.
Yeah, Schwalbe likes to make some very special names. Some people complain about it, some people love it. But at the end of the day, everybody knows what the Magic Mary is. Everybody knows what the Big Betty is. So it kind of works out.
But let's talk a little bit about your work. I mean, we mentioned before you're not working in the mountain bike segment, but what are you looking after at Schwalbe these days?
So actually, I'm product manager for touring tires. That includes everything that rides on normal roads, that brings you to your office, to the railroad station. But we also do all the SUV tires for the new modern SUV e-bikes. We also do cargo bikes with some pretty cool stuff now in development. And due to Schwalbe being a company that feels like a family, I'm very much in touch with my colleagues that are in the race department, the gravel department, and especially also in the mountain bike department. So I have a lot of chances to write some prototypes. My colleague asked me a lot about my feelings about the tire, my thinking about it, testing. Man, I need to say it's after lots of years not working in the bike industry as a very passionate mountain biker, that feels a bit like a dream coming true. I need to say I do like my work at Schwalbe a lot.
I'd like to hear that, but can you illustrate it with some cool experiences? What were some of the highlights so far?
Well, starting at Schwalbe and not being a week there and having like you have seen the new Techie Chain launching at Eurobike. So your colleague coming to you and that's a new dyno tire. You want to test it, and you're like, "What? Really? Now?" So you get a lot of insights, and you start to understand how a tire works and how important it is for the ride quality, for the puncture protection, and also what generate grips at the end of the day. And seeing all those techniques raising in the race department or downhill department, and you as a product manager in touring, you can take those technologies as you need it and put it to your new tires. For example, last year we launched a tire that's called the Marathon Efficiency, which is actually the fastest rolling touring tire ever made. And actually what we did, we took a road racing tire, and just pumped it up to a bigger size, used a very fast rolling carcass and also compound. And it's actually kind of cool thing to have your colleagues develop very cool technologies that makes a tire better and use it for, I'd say, a tire that you use for your everyday riding.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I mean, especially, think back to your builder bike, right? So it's that carries over, right? If you use mountain bike
100%,
tires or cargo
100%, yeah.
tires or commuter tires, right? So it's, I mean, the segments become more and more
closer and closer,
intertwined, and some of the technologies are moving between the segments. And I think that's really, really
and
interesting.
what's cool about my workplace, people are very passionate about like making products like our tires better and better. So you can really feel the drive that the people are trying to make it work out. So the whole development process is kind of interesting. Our partner so our tires, as a lot of people know, are produced in Indonesia and Vietnam. And those colleagues we have there, which is actually it's a Korean company, we work very close together. I actually met them at Eurobike for the first time, and it's super interesting how they work on how the tire is built, the whole manufacturing. I think a lot of people don't think about it because it's just a tire, right? It's just a black thing. One of a lot of parts on your high-tech mountain bike, but now I'm starting to understand how important the tire can be, how important the right tire pressure can be, how important the right tire for your riding style can be, and how it can change the behavior of a bike. You can make a cross-country bike feel like an enduro bike if you have proper downhill tires on it. You can make a enduro bike feel very light and nimble if you put some lighter tires on it. And seeing that and having the chance to experiment a lot around with tires, that's great fun, actually.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And 100% agree with changing tires to change the character of a bike, right? So that's really cool. I love to experiment around with tires, so a bit of a tire nerd myself.
I mean, we know there are a lot of very good competitors out there, which is kind of good because, like, if a competitor makes a new tire, that's quite of a benchmark. That gives us the drive to say, okay, you made a benchmark. Let us now see what we can do. And so you see the tires, also the competitors making better and better tires, which is also pumping us to get better and better.
Yeah, that's how competition works, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, I also share the opinion that tires make a huge difference. And I can see why a lot of people look past them. They're like the first thing to get dirty, So, and they're touching the ground. So maybe like you have people who are quite averse, and they're like, oh, tires are tire, and how are they any more technologically advanced than a car tire? Because you have Formula One cars and you have trucks, and tires must be so advanced on cars, but they're actually very advanced for all types of vehicles when you think about it, because you have the same people making it, Pirelli and Michelin, and you have tires being made across the whole transport spectrum. So,
I mean, those big car tire brands, and they have a big advantage. So for them, it's very easy to get to new materials because they buy big batches for car tires, truck tires, motorcycle tires. And for them, it's very easy to take these materials and put them to their bike tires, which for us is a bit harder to purchase the material for a good price. But on the other hand, we just do bicycle tires. So we are 100% bicycle orientated, and there's no big company that's just like thinking about just making money. And bicycle tires just a piece of the cake for us. Bicycle tires are everything we want to do, and we're compassionate about it. And that's maybe a different drive than if you compare it to some other big brands. And if you see the evolution of especially compounds, what happened in the last 5 years, it's insane. So if you buy a Magic Mary now, comparing it with a Magic Mary like 5-6 years ago, it's I mean, if you if you had tested it 5 years ago and you weren't happy back then, try it again now, because it really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that might be a lot of what's on people's minds. Because also, for example, I rode a couple set of high rollers, and I was just like, no,
Yeah.
that's not for me. And it didn't shy me away from Maxis, because it turns out the DHF became my favorite all time tire, front and back. And then from there, I decided, okay, you know what?
Oh, okay.
I will try other Maxes. So I tried the DHR, and then I tried the Assegai, and so forth. And actually, yeah, I have a lot of good experiences with different types. And now I'm willing to try the high roller. I mean, I don't think they make them anymore. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely open to trying more Maxes, and I'm not shied away from anymore, because I've noticed, as you said, it's gotten better.
Yeah, but even each tire manufacturer, if you buy, for example, a Minion or an Assegai, it's like 3-4 different kinds of compounds, 3-4 different kinds of carcasses, a lighter one, a more heavier one, and everything changes how your ride behaves. So on one side, I'm quite a heavy guy, so it makes sense to ride a very strong carcass, also due to puncture protection. But you can also ride with less pressure and have more comfort due to it. So it doesn't matter which tire brand you ride. You need to find the right setup for you. And it's kind of hard because tires are expensive nowadays, especially if you buy a full set. I know that not a lot of people want to change tires every 3 months or something. And I was like that back then. So my front tire was like lasting a year. Doesn't matter how it looked, but yeah. But now having the chance to test different tires, you really see the difference and how the behavior is. And there's not the best tire for anyone. So some tires are good for one kind of riding, and some tires are good for the other kind of riding. So the new Techie Chan, we launched right now, man, that's an awesome tire. But it's not for everyone. If you maybe not a confident rider, maybe stay with the Magic Mary or something. And that's also the same fact for Maxis, for Continental, or whatever tires they are.
How would you say your feeling or your opinion on tires changed once you started with Schwalbe? Like, for example, as a mountain biker, you know that compounds and tread patterns make a difference for your mountain bike. But in terms of, like, if someone were to ask you, hey, give me your opinion, how important are tires, like, let's say 2 years ago compared to now that you've been with Schwalbe? Where is it on your ranking? Like, before you would have said, oh no, do suspension first and like get a nice bar for sure. You got to have good grips. And now, where would you put that instead?
I'd say even my time before Schwalbe, I had quite my own thinking about tires, and I knew what tire I wanted to ride. I knew which compound, I knew which carcass I wanted to ride. But I didn't really understand how it feels like if you ride something else. Due to a tire being very expensive, I never had the thought about buying maybe a lighter or heavier tire for my bike. I just wanted my Assegai in the front and my Dissector in the back, or Aggressor or something, because I like to ride a lighter tire on the back. But I always went with the same setup. So I didn't experiment that much as I do now, of course. And experimenting more opens your mind, and understanding how a tire is built and what's actually inside of a tire. A carcass is not just a simple layer of cloth inside of the tire. You can change the behavior of a tire so much in changing your carcass, in changing your compound, in changing your tread pattern. It's very interesting, and due to you having so much options, you see tiring evolving, not just with us at Schwalbe, but also with Continental launched a new set of tires, which is pretty good. We need to say that. Maxis, the Assegai, which launched some years ago, it's all-time favorite for a lot of bikers nowadays. So I think there will be a lot of good technologies coming in the near future, which will be very interesting. Not just us, but probably also the other manufacturers.
Okay, I guess with that, we leave the secrets and the speculation about the future of bicycle tires. And maybe we should do a bicycle tire deep dive at some stage, but we'll leave that for another time because right now we have a very important question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
And is it that working for Schwalbe, a tire manufacturer, has changed your view on the perfect skid?
Oh, well, now which tire I need to ride on my back wheel now, which helps me to skid better. Yeah, it changed a bit my opinion. Actually, I changed my taste of rear tire a bit, so skidding is working now better than ever.
What's the secret?
Oh, the rear tire needs to be a loose tire. Business in the front, party in the back. Bit like that.
It almost sounds like there's going to be a new compound on the market soon. Samuel Skid.
Damn, Samuel Skid sounds good.
Yeah,
I do like that. I will suggest that to the product manager of
He's
Mountain Bike.
Smart Sam's younger brother. Yeah, it's a Sam family.
I
yeah?
see.
They're in the Sam family.
Oh,
man.
that's a good one.
Dang.
And I guess
everywhere.
with the dad jokes, it's time to end it for tonight. Micha, where can people find you if they wanna know more about your clunker project or your projects at Schwalbe?
Probably my most social I use is Instagram. It's Micha_7F. And yeah, that's probably the channel I use the most. I think Facebook is kind of like not very active anymore, and TikTok is for the younger guys, so I stick with that.
Let's just own it. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. We stick that in the show notes. We stick all the photos, all the infos about the clunker in there as well. You can find it on the homepage or anywhere else you listen to our podcast. With that, we say thank you again. This was awesome as always, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, hopefully. On the bike, of course.
Thanks for listening. We really hope you enjoyed this episode.
Pascal and I put a lot of heart and soul into this podcast, and it means a lot to us that you've listened to it. We'd also really appreciate if you shared it with the people that you know and care about. Until next time, Skigglers.